The Richest Man in Babylon Book Summary. The 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. After many years of great prosperity brought about by the building of the great irrigation canals and the mighty temples of God, the completion of these left the people of Babylon unable to support themselves. The laborers were without employment. The merchants have few customers. The farmers are unable to sell their produce. The people do not have enough gold to buy food. In his desire to address this, the king asked his chancellor, "But where has all the gold gone that we spent for these great improvements?"
"It has found its way, I fear, into the possession of a few very rich men of our city," responded the chancellor.
"Why should so few men be able to acquire all the gold?" the king further queried.
"Because they know how," replied the chancellor. "One may not condemn a man for succeeding because he knows how. Neither may one with justice take away from a man what he has fairly earned to give men of less ability."
"Who knows best in all our city how to become wealthy, Chancellor?" asked the king, to which the chancellor replied,
"Thy question answers itself, your majesty. It is who has amassed the greatest wealth in Babylon. It is Arcad. He is the richest man in Babylon."
"Bring him before me on the morrow," demanded the king. Upon the order of the king, Arcad, the richest man in Babylon, was tasked to keep Babylon the wealthiest city in the world by teaching more of its people to acquire riches. Hence, the 7 Cures for a Lean Purse. Cure number 1. Start thy purse to fattening. Arcad turned to a humble man who had declared himself an egg merchant. "If thou select one of thy baskets and put it into each morning 10 eggs, and take out from it each evening 9 eggs, what will eventually happen?" "It will become in time overflowing," answered the egg merchant. "Why?" asked Arcad. "Because each day I put in one more egg than I take out," the egg merchant further added. "Now I shall tell thee the first remedy I learned to cure a lean purse. For every 10 coins thou placed within thy purse, take out for use but 9. Thy purse will start fattening at once, and its increasing weight will feel good in thy hand and bring satisfaction to thy soul." As the first cure to a lean purse, Arcad suggests that in order for one to build wealth, one must keep 1/10 or 10% of his monthly earnings as savings. If one is earning $1,000 monthly, keeping $100 over time will compound and be $1,200 after a year, or $6,000 after 5 years. This $6,000 of available cash may be used to invest when the opportunity presents itself. Cure number 2. Control thy expenditures.
"How can a man keep 1/10 of all he earns in his purse when all the coins he earns are not enough for his necessary expenses?"
asked Arcad's students. "What each of us calls our necessary expenses will always grow to equal our incomes, unless we protest to the contrary. Confuse not the necessary expenses with thy desires. Study thoughtfully thy accustomed habits of living. Herein may be most often found certain accepted expenses that may wisely be reduced or eliminated. This, then, is the second cure for a lean purse. Budget thy expenses, that thou mayest have coins to pay for thy necessities, to pay for thy enjoyments, and to gratify thy worthwhile desires without spending more than 9/10 of thy earnings," said Arcad. As the second cure to a lean purse, Arcad tells his students to avoid spending more on luxurious expenditures that may be disguised as necessities. By creating a budget, one will be able to take control and keep his expenditures low, thereby be able enough to keep 1/10 or 10% of his earnings, regardless of how much money is flowing into his pocket. Cure number 3. Make thy gold multiply. Behold, thy lean purse is fattening. Thou hast disciplined thyself to leave therein 1/10 of all thou earnest. Thou hast controlled thy expenditures to protect thy growing treasure. Next, we will consider means to put thy treasure to labor and to increase. Gold in a purse is gratifying to own and satisfieth a miserly soul, but earns nothing. The gold we may retain from our earnings is but the start. The earnings it will make shall build our fortunes. So spoke Arcad upon the third day to his class. How therefore may we put our gold to work? My first investment was unfortunate, for I lost all. Its tale I will retell later. My first profitable investment was a loan I made to a man named Agar, a shield maker. Once each year did he buy large shipments of bronze brought from across the sea to use in his trade. Lacking sufficient capital to pay the merchants, he would borrow from those who had extra coins. He was an honorable man. His borrowing he would repay, together with a liberal rental, as he sold his shields. Each time I loaned to him, I loaned back also the rental he had paid to me. Therefore, not only did my capital increase, but its earnings likewise increased. Most gratifying was it to have these sums returned to my purse. I tell you, my students, a man's wealth is not in the coins he carries in his purse. It is in the income he buildeth, the gold stream that continually floweth into his purse, and keepeth it always bulging. That is what every man desireth. That is what thou, each one of thee, desireth, an income that continueth to come whether thou work or travel. After building up their savings and cutting expenses, Arcad advises his students to invest their savings to profitable and income-generating activities to compound their money. The money, well invested, will multiply by itself and produce a stable flow of income. This is what he suggests as the third cure to a lean purse. Cure number 4. Guard thy treasures from loss. My own first investment was a tragedy to me at the time. The guarded savings of a year I did entrust to a brickmaker named Osmur, who was traveling over the far seas and in Tyre agreed to buy for me the rare jewels of the Phoenicians. These we would sell upon his return and divide the profits. The Phoenicians were scoundrels and sold him bits of glass. My treasure was lost. Today, my training would show me at once the folly of entrusting a brickmaker to buy jewels. Therefore, do I advise thee from the wisdom of my experiences. Be not too confident of thy own wisdom in entrusting thy treasures to the possible pitfalls of investments. Better by far to consult the wisdom of those experienced in handling money for profit. Such advice is freely given for the asking, and may readily possess a value equal in gold to the sum thou considerest investing. In truth, such is its actual value if it save thee from loss. As the fourth cure for a lean purse, Arcad then tells his students to protect their principal from loss by avoiding get-rich-quick schemes or other investment vehicles with huge downside risk. He says, don't put your money at risk to get rich quickly. Look for reputable money managers and investment vehicles to put your money into. Slow and steady investing will get you rich over the long term. Cure number 5. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. If a man setteth aside 9 parts of his earnings upon which to live and enjoy life, and if any part of this 9 parts he can turn into a profitable investment without detriment to his well-being, then so much faster will his treasures grow. So spoke Arcad to his class at their 5th lesson. The moneylenders gladly consider the desires of men who seek homes and land for their families. Readily may thou borrow to pay the brickmaker and the builder for such commendable purposes, if thou can show a reasonable portion of the necessary sum which thou thyself hath provided for the purpose. Then, when the house be built, thou canst pay the moneylender with the same regularity as thou didst pay the landlord, because each payment will reduce thy indebtedness to the moneylender. A few years will satisfy his loan. Thus come many blessings to the man who owneth his own house, and greatly will it reduce his cost of living, making available more of his earnings for pleasures and the gratification of his desires. This, then, is the 5th cure for a lean purse. Own thy home. As the fifth cure for a lean purse, Arcad preached to his students to purchase a home instead of renting one to live in. By purchasing a home, you are building equity in an asset instead of paying money to someone else for rent. Also, homes generally appreciate in value over time. So not only are you building equity, your equity will likely increase in value while you own the house. Cure number 6. Insure a future income. The life of every man proceedeth from his childhood to his old age. This is the path of life, and no man may deviate from it unless the gods call him prematurely to the world beyond. Therefore do I say that it behooves a man to make preparation for a suitable income in the days to come, when he is no longer young, and to make preparations for his family should he be no longer with them, to comfort and support them. This lesson shall instruct thee in providing a full purse when time has made thee less able to learn. So Arcad addressed his class upon the 6th day. The man who, because of his understanding of the laws of wealth, acquireth a growing surplus, should give thought to those future days. He should plan certain investments or provision that may endure safely for many years, yet will be available when the time arrives, which he has so wisely anticipated. Arcad advises next that his students start investing now for retirement as the 6th cure to a lean purse. According to Arcad, there are many diverse ways by which one may provide with safety for his future today, one of which is to buy houses or land. If wisely chosen as to their usefulness and value in the future, these property investments are permanent in their value, and their earnings or their sale will provide well for retirement. Cure number 6. Increase thy ability to earn. The more of wisdom we know, the more we may earn. That man who seeks to learn more of his craft shall be richly rewarded. Always do the affairs of men change and improve, because keen-minded men seek greater skill, that they may better serve those upon whose patronage they depend. Therefore, I urge all men to be in the front rank of progress, and not to stand still, lest they be left behind. Thus, the 7th and last remedy for a lean purse is to cultivate thy own powers, to study and become wiser, to become more skillful, so to act as to respect thyself. Thereby shalt thou acquire confidence in thyself to achieve thy carefully considered desires. As the 7th cure to a lean purse, Arcad advises his students to continuously seek to learn new skills and knowledge to become a better investor and earn more money by taking advantage of new opportunities.